Imagine working in the president's house, and just because long ago, for this own president, for the greatest president of all the time, killed by an assassin's bullet, you know that it's Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president of the United States, born on 1809. So, what are we waiting for? Now, let's enter this right now about Abraham Lincoln. So, Abraham Lincoln was actually born in 1809 in February the 12th, and he was just born in a small log cabin, just a normal log cabin in the woods, and a poor family with just dirt floor and just playing around with his sister Sarah too. And later they just happened to just live with each other just normal. They just killed wild turkeys, they relied on bears, and they relied on nature. And Abraham Lincoln said that he lived in pretty pinching times. That was funny. When he was 7 years old, he shot a wild turkey, and then he discovered that he hated killing. Nobody knows why. Maybe because maybe he thinks that he have to be justice and peaceful, or maybe some other, etc. and so on. So, what do you think? Maybe we should. When he was 9 years old, he was living on his own, still happy, when suddenly his mom died. It was a huge blow, but soon another stepmother named Nancy came to help him read and write and learn. And soon he only had 1 year, just 1 year schooling, because they all work in the fields. It was a black school, which all the students at the end of class, all the students read out loud the lessons. So the teacher have to try to pick out one of the mistakes that the child had made. And it was very noisy. And soon, when Abraham Lincoln heard all the lessons, he have wrote them on a chalkboard. When Abraham Lincoln was born before, he was in Kentucky, and he had to move there to Indiana because it's a free state. And Kentucky is not a free state, it's a slave state. So they have to move away. And soon Abraham Lincoln learned at an ABC school where he learned the alphabet. And soon he learned more things, and his dad, Thomas Lincoln, was an excellent storyteller. And he was a very, very good teller because. And also, let me tell you this story about Tom. At one time, he was walking in the wood, panther screams and howling wolves filled the night skies until his grandfather was dead because of a black bear. That's that. And soon, it was the shock of the terror of marking the day of Thomas Lincoln. Thomas Lincoln was a very, very excellent storyteller and told lots of stories to Sarah and Abraham Lincoln. Soon it was Sarah Lincoln which got her name. And soon Abraham Lincoln wrote them on a piece of chalk and then just shaved them off. And soon when he didn't remember it, he just shaved off it again so that he can remember and repeat that. Soon when he grew up, then he learned a lot of things inside books, and he always read in the fireplace and the candles too. when he had free time, he liked to escape, and soon he read a book. But his biggest problem is finding books. One time he had to walk miles away to find a book. If that was the only book, he would put it under his bed and read it later until he knew whole parts by heart. And soon I want you to think that Abraham Lincoln was sitting by the fireplace when his stepmother caught that he had to learn. And maybe he liked to know in books. He said that all I want to know is inside books. So what are inside books? How are they? Communicate? And he had all types of books. He all put them under his bed, even though there are no shelves in his house. Soon he have a lot of books: education, grammar, mathematics, science, language arts, biography, social studies, and pronunciation, and literature, and writing, and a lot of other stuff, right? So he was very, very interested in all subjects. Soon when he studied all of them, he grew up. And soon, this was the part that he went to the lives of New Salem. In New Salem, he was busy working there. He had a lot of jobs. He had very lot of jobs as a lawyer, as a businessman, as a farmer, as a lot of other stuff, and like that. He said that if you cannot be an honest lawyer, resolve to be honest at every time. So what that means is that he meant that we cannot be an honest lawyer. We have to be honest at all times. Even if we cannot be a successful lawyer, we have to be honest. And so he felt that honest is a feeling that he is a part of a life. And so one time his partner said that he was the saddest man that he have ever seen. So he moved him to his club and brought him to a very small room in the back. And soon he was moved there. Well, Speed, I moved. So he said that, and soon he decided to move to Springfield. Well, when he started, he thought that New Salem is still good, but he wanted to move to another life in Springfield, Illinois, which is a state, a free state, absolutely. And so he had a lot of books in hand, and now he can even write them when he's still president. And soon he moved to Springfield, Illinois. As he saw that Springfield is like a modern town, and you already heard of, but it seemed very bustling, and to Abraham Lincoln, it's the biggest city ever that inside his life that he have ever seen. There are a lot of modern wooden houses though. It was still a normal life. One time he was at a play, and soon he met a woman called Mary Todd. Mary Todd was there with him, and he went up to Mary Todd shyly, and then they married each other. Mary Todd said that she would like to marry a man which became president of the United States. And so Abraham Lincoln couldn't have known that he will be president, though. And soon he will be there to just help. One time, soon he went to the Mississippi and Colorado River so that he can trade some goods and products. For the first trip, it was quite normal. The second trip, he saw on the land that people are drinking wine and wearing fancy clothes. Men and women are just doing stuff. But one time, but then he traveled more farther away, and then the illustration shattered his joy. 12 Negroes chained together like cattle and treated unfairly and whipped again. And he was marked also by the terror, and it dawned on him, every night and day. And soon, there he decided to enter a debating club. He decided to enter a debating club, and he debated about slavery. He hated slavery. Actually, all of the Lincoln family hated slavery. Even Mary Todd. And soon after that, when he was finished the debating club, there are 4 new sons. The first son was Robert, which grew up quickly. The second son was Willie, which also grew up. But soon, when the third son was there, it was Edward. He just died, because he had a disease that it is maybe not commonly known around the world in the 1800s though. And he died of like a fever or disease or something like that. And soon the last son, which was Thomas, was born. Thomas was nicknamed Tad because he wriggled like a tadpole and his head looked like a tadpole, which is very large. And he was nicknamed that name. And Edward became Eddie, but he died, just that I said before. Reminded that. And William became Willie. And soon they grew up quickly, but all of their parents spoiled their children. One time he was at the office and he bring them with them, and soon they danced and they flew out of the work paper and then danced on them and put ashes and ink stains on the floor all around. And soon his partner said that he wanted to wring their little necks, but Abraham Lincoln's parents, Abraham Lincoln and Mary Todd, never scolded their children. One time, he decided to take his children to his office inside the courthouse, and soon he also went with Robert, but soon he had to send them all away. Robert was there too, and he was the first one. And soon when he traveled by train, but then one side stopped him. Hey, that was Grace Butler, one girl, which said that Abraham Lincoln should grow a beard because he looked like he needed whiskers. And when he grew a beard, she said, nah, that's not pretty, no. And soon he was but he didn't care much about that. And soon he decided to, just go out and do that again. And as he did that, and he worked there every single night, and he was very, very sad and alone. And soon he worked, but soon there were news at that time, and sometime And soon, one some Southerners have attacked Fort Foster, and he have no choice now. And soon, all of the sovereign states have left the Union and wanted to form their own country. Now Lincoln was very, very worried that maybe they would declare war on them. And if he hated slavery, but he won. He won the contests. He won, and he ran the first time. Then he ran again, but soon he lost. He said that all men are created equal, but except Negroes. And soon he ran again, and he won. And he ran 3 times again, and ran again, and won. And when he said that women and men are created equal, he lost. But soon he never gave up, and soon he just go on and gone. And soon he go the extra mile, and he won a lot of contests and competitions. And the Northerners were very happy. But time went by, and the Northerners were very worried about them. They thought that he told too many silly jokes, and one man told it that he was too unpresidential, and soon he had to develop more. He had to be more serious. He had little experience at government, but he still decided to go on, race off, and didn't care about it. Still, Abraham Lincoln wanted his job as a president of the United States. Soon he loved all of his children, but soon, sadly, Willie died because of a fever, a very high fever, and soon Ted cried for 1 month, and soon Robert was working all day and night at the office, and soon the only son was left inside the White House was Ted, and Ted was the only son. And when he spoke up, he had spoke up from all of the other crowds, and he spoke up from all of the other world, and decided to join Abraham Lincoln. And so, this is the last part. I should say, this is a very, very sad part for all of you. When I say all of you, I mean all of you, because many Southerners, the Civil War have go on, and go on. Soon, he traveled to the Gettysburg battlefield, and soon so many men died and soldiers died that you could barely see the ground. And when he was sad, more and more people died. He was very sad. And soon the war was a bit over. But he didn't see that. One time he was at a play during the war was ending and the slaves were just going around. But soon an assassin's bullet flung and went into his brain. And soon the doctors went to him, but there's no cure because it was shot in the brain and died. He died at 7:22 a.m. the next morning. That was a sad ending. He died at 1856 and February. He died at 1856, and he also was at 56 at the time. And everyone will remember his death, his unity, his peace. And today, people all remember his freedom, his justice from the Civil War, for all of that. So I want you to learn one thing, that Abraham Lincoln is the hero of all of us. And you need to, if you need to, maybe you need to read books, go on, work like Abraham Lincoln. If you don't just do that, well, why don't you be like Abraham Lincoln? So, just wake out of bed and be a president for all of the unity and peace for all of this world. So this is done. Goodbye and thank you for spending some attention and time with me. Oh, goodbye.